Hello guys, you're welcome to Graphic Design Bootcamp by Tech Anchor, where creativity finds direction. Subscribe now and let's dive in.
So let's get started. Once again, you are welcome to Graphic Design Bootcamp by Tech Anchor. Today we'll be looking at layers. What is a layer? A layer in Photoshop is a part of a design that can hold pictures, text, shapes, or effects. It lets you edit one part without changing the others. So we have types of layers. We have type layer, we have shape layer, and we have image layer. The type, we are talking about text. The shape, we are talking about rectangle, ellipse, as the case may be. And we have the image layer. So right now we'll be looking at layer properties and functions like hierarchy, visibility, rename, opacity, thumbnail, lock layer, link layer, select multiple layers, group layers, color label, that's layer color coding. So let's launch our Photoshop. Okay, here we are. So let me create a new document. Okay, I've created a new document. By now, you should know how to create a new document. You should know more about the Photoshop interface and a lot. If this is your first video, we have done video on creating new document, understanding file formats, and Photoshop interface, and some basic tools you are going to make use of. So check the playlist Graphic Design Bootcamp and go through all the videos. So today we'll be looking at layers. In my last video, I said that this is a layer panel. We call this panel the layer panel. So now, the first thing on our list is hierarchy, which is this hierarchy. When we talk of hierarchy, let's say for instance, I have something like this, and I have this. Okay. Let's just say I have this. And I have this. Let me reduce this a bit. I can see the rectangle and also the text, right? So I can see the rectangle and I can also see the text. But now let's look at something. I will drag the text to be in the same position with the rectangle. I can no longer see the text. Why? Think of hierarchy like, okay, like you are placing something on top of something. And right now, this particular rectangle is on top of this text. And why I cannot see this text is because the rectangle, number one, both the text and this rectangle shape, they are in the same position. Number two, the rectangle is bigger than the text and also is on top of the text, so automatically it's going to cover the text. I will no longer see the text. So that is what just happens here. When you have something that is bigger, let's just say you have a book and a pen, and you now place the book on top of the pen, you know that you not see the pen again because the book is larger than the pen and is also on top of the pen, and they are in the same position. Like this before, I place the text. Now they are not in the same position. I can see the text, but if they are in the same position, I cannot see the text. So that is hierarchy. So how do I correct this? Because this is going to happen often when you are designing. You feel like I brought a text, I brought a picture, I did this, I did that, but you cannot see that thing. It's because it might be because something that is bigger than that thing is on top of that thing and they are in the same position. So how do you correct that? You come to the layer panels. This is the layer panel. You can see now this Lorentz Isom is our text and this rectangle one is our shape that we have here. So if I drag this Lorentz Isom up, if I take it up and it's now above the rectangle, so the text will automatically show whether in the same position or whether the rectangle is bigger than the text. So far the text is above the rectangle in the layers panel. In this arrangement, the text is above, so the text will show. So that is just it. I might even have let me draw a circle, ellipse. I might even have something like this. So if this is beneath, I place this, I cannot see the circle. Why? Because the rectangle is bigger than the circle and is on top of the circle. How do I correct that? I will just drag the circle up. Once you just drag it and you see that blue, that something like that sky blue highlight, just release it. Now the circle is now on top of the rectangle and you can see it. So this is how hierarchy works. So you need to understand our hierarchy. Whenever you are working with anything you are working, always ensure that something, if they are to be in the same position, always ensure that the one that is smaller is on top of the one that is bigger so that they can appear in your design. So that is it about hierarchy. That is it about hierarchy. So another one now is feasibility. And we are talking of feasibility. Right now, I have text, I have rectangle, and I have circle, ellipse. So now, in feasibility, you can see this thing that look like an eye. This eye icon. Just toggle it on and off. If I toggle this one, if I click on it, you see, I will turn off the rectangle. If I click on it again, I will bring the rectangle back. Even the circle, turn off. Same thing with the text. So that feasibility, it will be very, very useful because maybe sometimes you want to export your design, but you don't want a particular thing to show. You might do design that you need to export it multiple times. The image 1, the image 2, as the case may be. But when you are exporting the first one, you don't want maybe this text to show or this ellipse to show, but you still want it to remain on your design. Maybe next time you want to export another one, you might want it to show. So instead of deleting it, you just have to turn it off and export your design. You can turn it back. So that is what feasibility is all about. So another one now is rename. Like now, this is known as ellipse 1, rectangle 1, Lorem ipsum. So you can rename this. Let me call this circle. How do you do? Just double click here. So just double click. So you can name it circle. You can double click here. I can double click here and I name it text. So know how to rename. Renaming your layers will help you a lot to know what you are working with. For example, I might have another rectangle now. I've added another rectangle. Rectangle 2. Maybe I'll call this one bigger rectangle, smaller rectangle. Rectangle 1 and 2 will confuse me. But if I call this one larger rectangle, and I'll call this one smaller rectangle. So now this is going to help me a lot. So to know, okay, this is the, maybe now I want to come to this one from the layer panel. I will know, okay, this is the smaller rectangle. So renaming your layers will help you a lot to manage your layers effectively. So that is how to rename layers. Another thing now is opacity. So we are here, opacity. Opacity is just like, okay, let's say we have this circle. If you come here, you will see opacity. If I click on this drop down and I use this slider, you see that it becomes kind of like transparent. Okay, let me put it here. If I drag down the opacity, it becomes transparent. So okay, this is the best way to illustrate it. If I drag it down, I can now even see the text, the part of the text that was covered, because it becomes transparent. So that is how opacity works. The circle now, you can change it from here to 50. You can change to 70, as the case may be. So if I drag it down, it becomes transparent. If I take it to 100, you can no longer see the part of the text that has been covered. But so it will be very useful, opacity. If I drag it, it now becomes transparent. I can see the part of the text that was covered. If I take it to 100%, you can no longer see. So that is how opacity works. Thumbnail. For thumbnail, you can see this T. Like I say, we have types of shape and layers. We have the type, the shape, and the image. So far, we are making use of type. This T shows you that this is text, meaning that this is a type layer. This one now, this particular thumbnail here that have it looks like a rectangle with something here showing that this is a shape. Let me bring picture 2. So I now have picture. You can see how picture look like. This is thumbnail. What you are seeing here is the thumbnail. This T, or this, so this is thumbnail. So let's talk of lock layer. So let's talk of lock layer. Now I can move this image around, but this day always ensure that any layer you are working with, you are on that layer. You can see now this layer is highlighted, meaning that I am on this layer. Right now I'm on this layer. If I now come to drag this, even if I'm on this layer, even if I put my cursor here, I cannot drag this rectangle. It's this one that will drag. If I want to drag this one, this is larger rectangle. I have to be on that layer before I can now drag it around, before I can work on it. So ensure that any layer you are trying to make use of, you select that layer from this layer panel. Understand? So if I'm on this smaller rectangle, even if I keep my cursor here, I can drag it because I'm on this smaller rectangle. So that is it. So now another thing is we have auto select. If I click this auto select, I might not need to come here and select the layer. I can select it directly from the canvas. I can just click on this one, it will take me to that place. So I can click here, I can click here, but at times you might need to turn the auto select on or off depending on what you are working on. So now we are talking of lock layer. I can move this layer around, but I'm on this layer now. You can see this lock, this icon that looks like padlock. If I click on it, this layer is locked. I'm on this layer now, but I can't drag it because it's locked. It's fixed in one position. Cannot move it. I can't drag it again. So it will be very, very useful. Maybe sometimes you are done with the background of the design. You can just lock it and keep, so that you might not mistakenly change its position or mess around with it, or any particular thing you know that okay, you are okay the way this thing is. You like the position that particular thing is placed, so it's advisable you lock it if you don't want to mess with it, because you are going to work with on a design that the layers will become too much, like things will become messy. So when you are done with a particular thing, is in the right position, you can just lock it. So that is how to lock layer. Like this one, I can move this one around, but once I lock it, you can see this icon, this button, this part lock icon here. I can't move it again. If I want to move it, I will just come and click on this icon again, so I can move it. Like this one, I will just click on this icon. I can now move it. So now another one is link layer. How do I link layer? I have this, I have this. Let's say before I talk about link layer, let's talk about select multiple layers. So now to select multiple layers now, I might want to select the image and also the circle. So now I've already selected the image. I will click and hold my control key and I will select the circle. Now both the image and the circle has been selected. So now I can now drag the two things around. You see now, if I'm moving, two of them are moving because the two are selected. So maybe I want to select this circle and the text. I will still press and hold my control key. I might want to select the smaller and the larger rectangle too. So now both the text, the larger rectangle and the circle are moving now. But I might just this is it. I can to select things, to select layers, you just use press and hold your control key. Just select what you want to select. Another way of selecting is, what if I want to select everything that is here? What do? I can click on this first one, this first layer, which is the image layer. Instead of pressing and holding my control key to be selecting it one by one, I can do it like this. So I've selected everything. But another way I can do it is, I can just click on this first layer. I will click and hold my shift key, and I will come to the last layer. Everything has been selected. So it makes the selection easier in a case that even if I want to select from this image to this text, instead of selecting one by one, I will just select on the first one, click and hold my shift key. So it will select the three. So at times you might want to select multiple layers, like up to 10 layers at once. Or so instead of pressing and holding your control key and be selecting one by one, you just, with just two click, you select the first one, press and hold your shift key, select the last one, everything is selected. So it depends, but in a case that if now I just want to select the image, the text and the larger rectangle, I cannot use the shift, but in this case I can use the control, so that the circle will not be affected. So I will just independently select what I want to select. So it depends on what you want to do. You can press and hold the control key, or you can press and hold the shift key, depending on how you want to make your selection. So after doing that, we can now come to link layers. That is the select multiple layers. You can now come to link layers. So now to link layers now, let's just say I want to link this circle and this text together. What do I'll just select the two of them. You've learned how to select already. So now I'll right click. You will see link layers. I will click on link layers. So both the text and the circle has been linked together. If I select the circle and I want to move the circle, you notice that the text is moving along, because you can see now both of them, they are linked together. You can unlink it. So I can link the image and the larger rectangle together. I'll just select both of them and I will click link. So both the image and so even if I just selected only the larger rectangle, but if I'm moving it, the image will move along, because both of them are linked together. So that is how to link layers. Group layers. Let me unlink it. To group layers, this will be very useful, to be very helpful in design. You need to know how to group layers in design, because you are going to work with, at times you might have like 100 layers, 200 layers, and you cannot just leave it like this messy. Like now, once I start exporting stuff, let's just say I have another text here. Okay, let me call it layers. I have another text, layers. I might change the color for it. Let me say I change the color. So there are times you are going to work with something that has a lot of layers. So how do you arrange it? Maybe I want this one to be, I want two of them to be together. Okay, let me change the color to something brighter. Okay, I like it. or let me just call this circle. So now I want to two of them now, they are not, I want to group them together. I'll group this one together. I will group this one together. Okay, let me call this one rectangle. Don't worry about typography, we are coming there. You will learn how to type. We are coming there. You learn how to type. I can change the color. So I can put this one here. So I'm going to group them like this. I will group the rectangle and this text rectangle and the shape together. So this, where is the text? The rectangle. This is it. You can toggle so you can see that. So I want to group them together. I will click on it and I will click on the smaller rectangle. So selection is very, very important. You can now see that even when we link layers, we have to do a selection. Now we are going to grouping selection too. So I've selected the two things I want to group together. I will just right click. Once you right click on it, so the fastest way to do it is just once the two things are selected, you press Ctrl G. This one is grouped together. Let me group the circle and the text. This is the text for the circle. You can see the text terminal. This T stands for the text. You can see the circle here. Same thing, Ctrl G. Let me group the image and the larger rectangle. I'll select Ctrl G. You can now see now our layer is now a bit neat. It's no longer before it was if you ungroup everything, before it was much, but now it's not that much because you've been able to group things. I can even make it just two. So this is a power of grouping. This is a power of grouping. With grouping, your layer might not have to be that much, that messy. You just have to arrange things. Now, like this group now, if I'm on this group, I will just move everything in this group will move together. If I'm on this one now, everything will move together. If I'm on this one, everything will move together. So you can rename your group too. I can call this rectangle. It can be confusing, so you rename it so that you can know it. Rectangle. Okay, this one is for the circle. I can call this circle. And this one is for the image and larger rectangle. I can call it image. So now if I click on this one, the image, this is a circle, and this is the rectangle. Now grouping is just like you have a container and you now put things inside that container, and everything, that container now is now housing everything you put inside it. So that is how grouping is. I can put as many things as I want inside this group. Let's just say I bring this. Okay, this is like a picture. I'll bring this here and I put it inside the image group. I can adjust this one. I put it inside the image group. So now this picture, this one, and the rectangle, they are in one container. So if I'm moving around, if if I'm on this image group, everything is moving around. If I turn this off, it will turn off everything. If I turn it on, it's going to bring everything back, because this group now is controlling everything inside this group. So I can not only, when you can collapse the group, once you collapse, you will now see what is inside. Maybe you want to edit them independently. So now I can turn this one off, the image off. But if this is a group, if I turn off the group, it means I will turn off everything inside the group. If I bring it on, it means that everything will be affected. If I want to work on them independently, I will just collapse it and I'll work on it independently. Understand? So that's how it works. So now the last one is color label. So that one now, if I right click, I will come to, you can see here, you see color, no color, or red. So I'll pick red. Color label now will just help you to know what and what. I can pick blue. So how does this work? I might say, okay, once I see this red, I know that it has to do with the image group. This yellow, the circle. This blue, the rectangle. So it might help you to work, to be more precise when working. Why you need to understand these layers is because it's going to get messy. There are some designs that you have a lot of layers, a lot. So if you don't understand how layers work now, you might not be able to manage the layers effectively. Layer is just like the, should I say, layer is the, I don't even know the right word to use. If you don't know how to manage layers, you are gone. You can't work effectively with Photoshop. If you don't know how to manage layers, if you don't know how to do all these things I'm doing, you can't work effectively with Photoshop. Layers is Photoshop. And understanding these layers will help you a lot. Even if you go to Illustrator, it's the same principle. Go to Figma, it's the same principle. Anything that has to do with layers is the same principle. So layers, should I say, is the alpha and the omega of design in Photoshop. So if you don't know how to manage layers, you are lost. So please take this seriously. Learn it, practice it, understand it, because proper understanding of layers in Photoshop will help you to work effectively in Photoshop. So now I've done everything. Talk about the hierarchy, visibility, rename, opacity, thumbnail, lock layer, link layer, select multiple layers, group layers, color label. So I've done everything you need to know about layers, and this will help us going forward, because very soon we'll start designing, and proper understanding of layers will help you to work effortlessly, effectively. Thank you for watching. See you when I upload the next video. Cheers.